Well, Tamar, it's good to finally catch up. I know we've been trying to get this together for a while, so we
Yeah.
appreciate you sitting with us to do this TED Talk. So let's talk about your company, CanUStart. What is it that brought you to this specific sector?
Thank you guys so much for having me. So CanUStart started because I've been in the staffing industry for 7 years now. I don't want to date myself. But I really saw a need for the speed in time that it takes for an employer and a job seeker to really meet and get to that productive moment of working and making money and moving things forward. So I really started to think about the mechanisms and things that I did on a day-to-day. Like, how could I get technology to do the same with me as a recruiter? So just started talking to different people, started teaching myself UX and UI and design and understanding the basics of that so that I can wireframe the site and really put everything that I have in my mind out on paper. And then I met Kwame Ampim, and he started teaching me how that design meets code and understanding the concepts of code.
Okay.
So it's really how we kind of got to that point. We recently, January, opened it up to everyone. So CanUStart is now all across a lot of industries.
So do you still consider yourself a startup, and can you talk about that startup process?
We definitely still consider ourselves a startup, mainly because we're just now starting to have the fundraising conversations with investors and different people in the industry. And so we're doing a lot of bootstrapping.
So tell us then about the value for both the employer and the employee, and what is it based on? Is it fee-based, subscription-based?
For the employer, the greatest value that we really wanted to bring to the table and be different from your average staffing agency or job board is all jobs can be posted 100% for free. Really posting a job is a huge barrier for a lot of companies, and the reason why they can't really find quality talent, because the cheaper job boards typically don't have the best talent.
Right.
The expensive job boards are very expensive and cumbersome for someone who, let's say you're a startup trying to hire someone, or you're a small business looking for an assistant. You're not going to be able to afford a $500 job posting if you're just needing someone to work for $10 an hour.
So it's a fee-based so the employer gets to post for free.
Yep, the employer gets to post for free, and they only pay once they hire someone. And it could be a nominal fee of a flat $25, or if it's a higher position, like let's say in the legal or tech industry, it could maybe be $99 or $150.
Right.
Once they've made that selection.
And then for the employee, the potential employee,
The employee it's always free for job seekers, because you're looking for a job, you don't have any money.
Perfect. When you take a look now you mentioned with the website and keeping it user friendly and really responding to what the needs are of both the employer and the potential employee, how critical is that?
It takes a tremendous amount of time. In tech we say it's very, very hard making things simple for other people. It's critical because sometimes I have like this grandiose vision of what I want CanUStart to be. Kwame has on a tech side this grandiose vision of what he wants CanUStart to be. And sometimes if you're not able to really listen to what people are telling you, your business could be dying and you don't even know it. For us, what we realized somewhat quickly and very unquickly is that people were coming to the site and only wanted to do two things. They didn't really care about what the technology did for them or how it worked. They really employers wanted to post a job and job seekers just wanted to find the job. So we had all these beautiful functions around those two aspects, but we weren't really focused and paying attention on the fact that they were just doing these two functions.
Right.
So we kind of just stripped everything else that we had and just started focusing on those two things. Then we started seeing the traction come in really organically and naturally.
So I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing you saying, here I was coming with this vast experience that I had, none of which was tech related.
Yeah.
So I had to learn that really quick.
Yeah.
At the same time, I am I'm a startup, I'm building a business,
Right.
and then I had to ensure that the technology that I've created, in a real simple term, was user friendly, but
Right.
really, really user friendly,
Right.
because this is what, the business is based on this.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that journey, because there's so many, and I think of so many who think, well, I've done this, here's where I may want to go, but there's this technology bridge I've got to cross.
Yeah. You almost have to, as a startup founder, really embrace tech and really understand it and really kind of get to the nitty gritty of even knowing how to code one line. Because in the startup world, people get a lot of heat about, there's not enough minorities in your company, there's not enough minorities in tech, but I think that really goes back to there's just really not a lot of minorities learning tech. And I think that's starting to change with a lot of the programs that, I've had the pleasure of kind of being introduced to. But in order to really be taken seriously in the tech world, like, you have to know the language. Like, you have to understand it. When someone says UX, UI, and you have a website and you have no idea what that means, you're not really getting the respect of being a startup founder.
That was so critical for you to say that, because that's something we want our viewers, especially our young viewers or college graduates, so this, because people see where they are now, they know where they want to go, but they don't always see the kind of sweat equity, the sleepless nights that you need to put into it. Let's talk about failure. Talk with us about some of the failures, the issues, the hurdles you've had to cross prior to CanUStart, with CanUStart, and how are you using that to become, adding that to your learning curve? Using that to grow.
Yeah, I feel like the learning curve has been very steep, mainly because I just, just had to teach myself all of this stuff. And the other thing that people really don't see is that you're learning a technology, so that has its hiccups along the way. One of the biggest things that we did badly is just we overbuilt a system that people really didn't want. It was just too complex. When you figure it out, it's like, why did I waste so much time? But you wouldn't have figured it out had you not wasted the time. So I think that's the biggest thing about the small failures or the big failures, is just accepting it for what it is and just moving.
Lessons.
Yeah, the lessons, just moving on.
How are you targeting and identifying the employers to be able to get them to see the value of listing with you versus, I don't know, any of the others?
I'm always surprised about that too. I'm always shocked why people post jobs. You build it and that's the intention, but you're kind of blown away when people actually use what you intended it for. I think our value proposition is very clear. We really want to build CanUStart to be this global staffing platform where it's just all about urgency. You need someone to start tomorrow. These people we've pretty much guaranteed, we've already looked through and we pre-vetted that they can do your job. So really getting employers, getting them to post a job is not the issue. They do that all day. Now it's really getting the technology to pre-vet these applicants well enough so that if you get that ping on your phone, CanUStart has these 5 applicants in your area that meet your job requirement, trusting the system to say, okay, I want to ask this one, can you start? What I wanted to do with the algorithms and our CanUStart system is really give every single person who hits our site an opportunity to be evaluated somewhere, somehow. Also, if you're that candidate that gets selected, we have already reduced that amount of time that the employer finds you. So with the algorithms, every single person is evaluated, and the social good of that is that, we caught a misspelling or we caught a gap in between, an incongruent time between your last job and this one, and we're asking you, why is there a gap here? So a lot of those things we kind of, even though we didn't send you off to the employer, but we help you mitigate so that you can start to get more offers. It's really important to me, it's tremendously important that the system works to polish that person up as well.
Right, and it's so wonderful just to be able to hear the details. So here we are as a tech company, right, to be able to do this expeditiously, but also here is CanUStart as a company to ensure that the right candidate is in front of the right job,
Right.
and we're going to do all of the back end stuff. So I'm hearing so much in this onboarding process that is just really fully developed.
Right.
As we wrap up, tell me about some of these expanding industries. Where else are you heading?
Eventually, we kind of want to expand out from the full-time, part-time, and that's just the confounds of what work is.
It's really redefining
Yeah,
your
yeah.
hours, making your own hours,
Making your own
making your own
hours.
seasons that
Yeah.
you would choose to.
Yeah, and we're a startup, so we're big on like not following the rules, not really going the traditional route on anything. And Kwame, actually, that was one of his biggest things. Is like, it's like, do we have to stick to full-time jobs? I'm like, I really don't. The other important thing that we want to do is making something flexible and what once seemed very unreliable, this very reliable thing. Like you can, really work for yourself, small hours at a time, and in a year, it does amount to $50,000 for the year. It does amount to $75,000 a year. Sustainable income is really what I strive to do for a lot of people.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Your energy. I'm excited to just continue to
Thank
see
you.
your company, refer people to your company.
Thank you.
Get the word out about the company and just the wonderful work that it's doing.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for sitting with us here at Tech Talk.
Thank you.